Hi Anne, so just finished working with you on the first and second movements and I have a little bit of time now, so I wanted to continue in the energy that we had going and have you and check out the third movement here. I watched your recording, your video, and there's just some things that we weren't able to discuss really because of time. So I want to actually go in on those specific things. Okay, so first off, it is what I really want to kind of just spend some time with you is on the second page. From really, I mean, it's really the second page actually. It's really like from 54 on. You can see, and it can be easy. It's easy to get kind of lost, especially 69, 68, 67 through 81. It can be easy to get kind of, I don't know, caught up in stuff there. So I just want to break it down a little bit with you to help just the understanding of that kind of specific passage. So we'll talk about that first, and then the final thing I'm going to talk about is basically from 100 to 105, and then coming out of this wonderful passage from 116 to 117. So those are the specific places I want to talk about now. So first off, let's go in to 55. One thing I want you to realize is the similarities and the patterns that are happening, because it's going to help with the intonation and just the placement of your fingers if you know exactly what's going on in comparison to other other measures. So I actually have my music up because I wanted to just check out the fingerings that I had used in the past, and I also looked at a couple different editions that I have, Peters and International, just to double check on some of these fingerings. So first off, what I want you to be aware of is 55 and 57. If you look at these two specific measures, they are intervally exactly the same, just starting on a different pitch. So here at 55, we have A major, and then we have G, C sharp, E. Okay, if you think about how that G, C sharp, E is on the violin, the 3 and the 2, we have an augmented fourth here, a diminished fifth. It's actually an augmented fourth here, but theoretically the spelling is an augmented fourth. So you have a 3 and 2 touching across the string. Okay, so if we look at 57, same idea, but just a whole step lower. We have G major, and then the FBD. Okay, so how this is good to know is, one, to have your ear turned on so you can really hear intonation-wise how they fit. So we're kind of like putting in some levels, some layers here of how we're listening to this. So our first exposure is 55, and I didn't replay the video to find out exactly what fingering you're using there. So I just want to give a suggestion for future. We don't want to change your fingering so late in the game, but something to think about in the future. 55, you can shift up into 4, so I'll play slowly. So in 4th position on the E, and then we have, you're set solidly in 4th, and then 57. It's the same relationship for the 3, 2, and 4. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. The other thing, 47, you actually are just a bit behind. When I listened in the video, you're just a little bit behind the orchestra there. So always feel what I call kind of like the insides of the beats. So if we started a Q, so it's actually, feel that the third beat. It's almost like you're jumping on a trampoline. I don't know if you've ever jumped on a trampoline, but so that third beat, the B comes off of that as a reflex kind of thing. And we want to keep it really in time. So we don't allow ourselves to slow down, okay? Because that was one place you slowed down a little bit. and got behind the orchestra. So great. So continuing on, I want to give you some other relationships to think about. I just need to find where they are. Yeah, so it starts actually, if we look at 73, this whole idea here, what's going on. So let's start at 73. And I would start this piano here. I'd be quiet at 73, like a decrescendo into 73, because we have a long ways to go to build to the forte, which is at 82. So we want to be able to build here. So we do need to, drop down to piano. And you can even think, okay, how am I going to build this crescendo? You can stay piano all the way to 79 if you want, and then have like a 2.5 bar crescendo. Or if you want to think, terraced wise, that we're building a little bit each time, you can. So here's 73 in piano. And then here, 74, again, I don't know what fingering you're using. It doesn't really matter. I just want you to know the relationship. So we have a D major, and then the C major coming back down. So C, D, A, or A minor, you can think of it. But just think about that relationship. So D major, and then a descending A minor here. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're going to talk about it when we get to 76. Okay, so then we continue on. Here, 76, same idea, E major. And I actually finger this with third position and a low 1 on the G sharp. Okay, and then 77. And then here's 78. We're going into, so we have FAC, so F major, same idea. You do this in 5th position. I would suggest 5th, and the reason why is because what happens in 80, we're going to do that in 6th position. It's exact same fingering, so you don't have to think so much. It's a little bit similar finger distances, so it's 5th position, and in 80, it's 6th position for the last 6 notes. Okay, so here's 78, and then going on, and then 80, where we have a G major, and then the descending. Okay, so I just want you to be aware that if you're not already, that the figure starts on 74, the last 6 notes, 74, 76, 78, and 80, okay? So he's just working his way up with the same pattern, the same idea, ascending through the steps. So 74 to 75, 76, 76 a whole step higher than 74, 78 is a half step higher than 76, and then we have a whole step in G, and 80, a whole step higher there. Okay, so it's ascending. So we have D, so 74, the figure starts on a D, and then an 80 on an E, on 76 an E, 78 an F, and then 80 is G, okay? And then eventually we're leading to this C and T. Okay, so just to keep that in mind as you're working through, to help with the intonation and the study of the intonation there, okay? And so I would suggest fingering 78 to do the last 6 notes in 5th, and then 80 the last 6 notes in 6th, because it's a similar finger pattern. However, in 78, the 3-2-1, it's a whole step from the 3 and 2, and then in 80, it's a half step between the 3 and 2. But just to, be aware of how this is working out theoretically. Okay, so then one last thing I wanted to talk about, because you brought it up in today's session, about going into, I thought I had it open here, just a sec, bear with me as I find the music. It's going into that fun little spot. Here it is. So I have your music in front of me. It's what I'm going to be talking about is 101 until 104. And then I just want to pull up my music here, which I thought I had. Maybe I closed it out by accident. Just a sec. Just bear with me. Because I just want to see my bowings. Not that I'm changing any of your bowings here, I just want to have my music up. Okay, so basically 101 into 105 is what we're going to discuss, because I believe this is something you kind of had some concerns on in the session about, you know, what to do with it instead of just playing the notes. And it is a very tricky spot because it's a lot of notes and it's very fast. So I think, if I remember right, I'd have to go back in the recording that you played for me. I think you did end up slurring some of these, like at 101. But I wouldn't be too concerned about like each individual note and what we're doing with it, because it's really, these are flourishes, or just flourishes. So we just need to make sure we're playing the notes correctly in the right pitch, intonation. But it's just the idea of a flourish. So we don't need to worry, you know, I would think I would keep the bow and the string, you know, and blend the string crossings, but I wouldn't worry about individual notes. Okay, so here at 101, just really keep in mind that these are flourishes and that we're still feeling this 3, okay? We still want to feel the 3, but all the individual notes, they're part of a flourish. So at 101 we have... Okay, so going into 105. I know your bowings are not the same as mine. I wouldn't be too concerned about it, just as long as we have that feeling of 3. So we have like a 101, 102, 103. Okay, so those are our big beats. We're taking the architecture of these 4 measures, and now everything else just fills in from 101. Okay, so that's the idea. Just feel what's going on, the big picture, and then just put all those little guys in where they need to go. Now, going into 117, you want to really feel this building up. You're doing a great job with the crescendo, but really building up, because our arrival point is really at 117. So if we take, I'm going to start at 115. So I end up 117 on a down. I think you're on an up, but no matter. I just want to talk about musically and dynamically what's going on here. So 115, we have... You really want that E before 117 to really pop out. And if you think about it, what do we have here? You know, we have the opening, this E to the A from 116 to 117 is the opening of the very first movement, but he's just done a play on it. Okay, so you really want to bring that out. It's almost like kind of in remembrance to the first 2. Here we're finishing up the concerto, and this is like, you know, we're going to bring out these 2 notes. So. So really bring out that E to the A, okay? And that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to point out, because those are some things we didn't have time to discuss, okay? So take care, Anne. Pleasure working with you, and good luck. Ciao.